Hi, I just want to take a few minutes to share my Scentsy story with you. My story has changed a lot over the years. I've been with Scentsy for 13 years, so just want to remind you too to not compare my story to your story because we're probably at different chapters in our Scentsy story. But I wanted to share with you um, just a little bit about me, my story, and maybe some of it might inspire you, motivate you, or be something that you can share with others too. I guess I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit. I sold two other direct sales companies before Scentsy, Creative Memories and Longer Burger, but never was I successful so quickly than I was with Scentsy. And I knew that it was just a good fit for me after I started. I always told everybody that you could never have too many baskets when I sold Longer Burger baskets, but the truth of the matter was you could. And I think part of the success with Scentsy helps that it is a consumable product. So people need to come back. They get addicted to Scentsy and then they need to come back for more bars and they buy gifts for their friends and things like that. Love that about Scentsy. Um, my sister, Natalie, lived in Idaho and she went to a Scentsy, her neighbor's Scentsy launch party. Her neighbor happened to be my superstar director, Kim Buchanan. Kim had two people show up to her launch party and my sister was one of them. And I remember my sister, when she got home, she called me and she's like, oh my gosh, I just tried this thing called Scentsy. And she goes, and you need to sign up to sell it. She said you could make so much money for your Baskets of Love ministry. And back in the day, I had a ministry called Baskets of Love where I helped single moms, and every month I would give them a different themed basket. So I had about 40 moms who I would give baskets to. They were always themed like a soup basket or a back to school backpack or something like that. And I would ask my friends for donations, tell them what the theme was. They would donate items to me, but I always needed about $300 extra a month to make that happen. And I was a stay-at-home mom. I didn't really have that extra income. So Natalie was like, you could make so much money for Baskets of Love. But truth be told, I was doing fine. And I love my Gold Canyon candles and I didn't need her Scentsy. So I blew her off for a long time. I didn't even try Scentsy for a year. And the only reason I tried it after that year was because she called me before my birthday and she said, go look at my catalog. I'm sending you a Scentsy warmer for your birthday. And I'm like, well, okay, well, if it's free, I'll try it. And I remember trying it and calling her right afterward and falling in love with it and saying, why didn't you send me one of these sooner? And I signed up to sell it 2 days later. I did fall in love with Scentsy, and Scentsy did help me with my Baskets of Love ministry, financially providing for that for a long time. Um, so I'm going to talk about how it helped me financially later. But right now, I just wanted to let you know how it helped me personally. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I really hate talking. Well, I don't now, but back in the day, I hated talking in front of people. Um, like in front of people, like standing up in front of people, right? Like giving a speech in a class or something like that just killed me because when I was young, I blushed. I blushed so much. If I got up in front of a group of crowd like that, my face would just get so red. And then people would say, oh my God, your face is red. And then my face would get redder. And I hated that attention and I hated standing up in front of people. I remember one time in college, I had to give an oral report at the end of the semester. I had to write a report and then stand up and give it in front of the class. Well, I was a straight A student in high school. I was a straight A student in college, but I remember that college class. I took a B in that class because I wasn't going to stand up and give that speech. I wrote my report, and on that last day of class, I put it in my professor's box, and I emailed my professor saying, "Oh my gosh, I had an emergency and I had to go out of town." And I took a B because I was so afraid of standing up in front of people. Scentsy has really helped with that. I don't mind standing up in front of people. I love going to an in-home party and sharing Scentsy. And I think it's because I'm talking about something that I love. I even presented at the Velada convention when Scentsy had our Velada brand, stand up in front of hundreds of consultants and spoke with them. So I don't mind talking in front of people anymore. And the only time I really ever blush is if somebody tells a bad or raunchy joke. Sometimes you might get my face to turn red, but Scentsy has helped me that way. Also, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Ever since I don't know, ever since before I got married, we always talked about that when we had kids, I wanted to stay home with the kids. And when my daughter was 6 weeks old, I had to go back to work, and it killed me. But when she was two, we moved again, and we figured out a way for me to be able to stay home since she was two, and she's 27. So I've been home for a long time now. And I just always loved being a mom. Um, it was something I was good at. It gave me something to do, right? You were just proud of your kids and proud of the way you raised them. And I just loved being a stay-at-home mom. So when my daughter went off to college, and then eventually got married and then had a baby and then moved to Boise. And then my son graduated, and then they get old and they don't really need you anymore. It just left this little void in my heart. Um, or this little space of like, what am I going to do now? I was really good at being a mom. Now, what am I going to do? So I want to tell you that Scentsy filled that little void in my heart. Scentsy gave me something that kept me busy, something that I was good at. I'm a leader, so I get to kind of nurture the people under me and kind of like be their mama. And because I'm a superstar director, I'm kind of like a grandma to a lot of people too. I'm like a grandma and an aunt and a mama to a lot of people. So Scentsy has helped fill that void in my little heart, in my mama heart. So I love that. The other thing that it did was during COVID, it really, Scentsy was my happy place. A lot of us were stuck at home, right? With no social interaction or anything like that. But during COVID, Scentsy got really busy. We were really busy. My business was booming, and Scentsy kept me uh, connected to other people. It gave me something to do. It really was my happy place during COVID and helped just make that time so much better. Scensy's also helped me just get out of my bubble, mainly with like incentive trips. I never knew where Punta Cana was. I'd never even heard of Punta Cana before Scentsy, and I've been there twice for free with them. Um, Mediterranean cruise to Europe. I never wanted to go to Europe. It wasn't on my bucket list. But I went and I took my son and we had the best time. So Scentsy has taken me out of that bubble. And when I go on these trips, I've met some amazing people that I would have never met otherwise. I have some great contacts in other states. One in particular, her name is Tracy. She lives in Texas. I met her on a Mediterranean cruise that I went on by myself. Um, and we still talk once a week. She is one of my best friends, and we just inspire and motivate each other. I can't imagine doing life without her. Another thing Scentsy done for me is kind of just become my surrogate family because we've always lived away from our family. My husband worked retail for 40 years, and in order to move up in retail, you got to move around to where they need you. So we moved a lot, and we've been here for 20 years. So we've been here a long time, but all of my family's up in Portland and other places. So Scentsy, we call each other Scentsy sisters, which is, it's true, we are. We're like sisters. We share and we inspire each other. Scentsy Convention in the summer used to be called Scentsy Convention, but they changed it to Scentsy Family Reunion, which I just love because that's what it's like. It's like going back and meeting all of your friends and family again. So it's just filled that little void in my heart too. So Scentsy's done a lot of things for me personally. So financially, it has helped me. It did help me with Baskets of Love. I did Baskets of Love for 10 years. I don't do it anymore, but it did support that for 10 years of doing that each month. Also want to just point out that I am going to put the income disclosure in the comments here because I'm going to be talking about money a little bit, and we need to do that when we talk about money. Um, but another thing about me is when my kids were little, they went to private school. They went to a private Christian school. And so we always paid tuition. We've always paid tuition for our kids. And it was a huge sacrifice for us because we were a one income family. Even though my husband made really good money, forking out $1,500 in tuition every month is kind of a sacrifice. So those extra things that come up in raising kids was paid for by Scentsy. Scentsy paid for my daughter's piano lessons. It paid for my son's guitar lessons. I got in an accident one time. My car got totaled because somebody ran a red light. I needed a new car. My car was paid off. the insurance company sent me a check, and it wasn't a check that was enough for the car that I wanted, right? So I took a big leap of faith right then, and I told my husband, if I can get the car that I want, I'll pay for it with my Scentsy money. And he agreed. So what that did, it kind of scared me a little bit, but what it really did was motivated me to do well because I knew I wanted to sell that $3,000 a month so I could get my $600 paycheck to pay for my car. And because I never wanted to go to him and say, "Ooh, I didn't sell enough this month. I can't pay for my car." So I never had to do that. And I actually paid my car off with Scentsy money. And since then, I've gotten a different car and I'm paying that now with my Scentsy money. So if you know anybody who needs a car, or if you need a car, you can definitely pay for that with your Scentsy money. Another thing I paid for was my son's braces. Kids are expensive, right? And we didn't save for college. Like I said, we paid tuition throughout, from kindergarten to 12th grade. So we kind of felt like, well, if we're paying tuition now, we'll just kind of continue paying tuition when they go to college. So we didn't save to pay for college up front. So my daughter took out some student loans and took care of things that way. But I am proud to say now that I am able to help her pay some of those student loans off. That's what I do with some of my Scentsy money each month. And I am so blessed to be able to do that. I know that paying those student loans is hard for a new family, a newlywed family with a new house and a new baby. And I am so blessed to be able to do that for her. And I would do anything for my kids. So if you haven't been saving for college, Scentsy can be your way to help your kids pay for their further education. So one thing that's kind of funny about my husband, he's always said this forever. He always said, when I turn 55, I'm going to retire, right? So most people retire at 62, but he's always said, I'm going to retire at 55, and if we can't afford it, you're going to have to go back to work. And he laughs and he thinks it's funny, and I think it's a little bit funny, but I don't want to go back to work. So I like my little Scentsy kid. I'm not going back to work. So fun fact, in December of 2019 or November, he was 55 and he decided he didn't want to work retail anymore. Retail has been really great for our family. It's provided for us for a long time, but 40 years of retail, he just said, I just want to take a holiday season off with the intention of going back after the holidays. So he took a severance package from his employer, and it was a good size severance package. So we weren't worried about money, and he was just going to enjoy the holidays. So that's great. But guess what happened that spring of 2020? COVID. COVID happened, and now my husband is home without a job, and now I don't want him to go back to work. I don't want him to go retail and go back to all that crazy COVID stuff, back to the rioting, all that things. So we decided to have him stay home and kind of ride that out. Um, and the cool thing is, at that time, like I said, with COVID, our business was booming. That September was when I promoted to superstar director. Um, I I had always wanted to retire my husband. I'd heard about other superstar directors retiring their husbands. That was always my dream. I just never knew when it would happen or if it could happen, right? When do you have enough money to let your husband retire? Well, I remember when I promoted to superstar director, I heard about other superstar directors and other people who can make $10,000 a month. And that was kind of always my goal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to make $10,000 a month. And I remember my first superstar director payday. I was so anxious to get on the computer and see how much my check was going to be because I had no idea. And it was like $10,146. So I hit it. I hit the 10,000, and that was just for 1 month, guys. Um, so it's possible. And when that happened, we were like, well, gosh, maybe you can retire. If I can make $10,000 a month, we can totally live on that. So what we did is we still had a severance package. We just kind of had that sitting to the side. And then we decided to let's just pay for our family's bills with my money and see if we can do it. Let's just do it and see if we can do it. And I've been doing that for 2 years now, guys. All of my family's, this house the mortgage, the cars, the everything I pay for with my Scentsy money. We were just doing it to see if we could do it. And I can do it. But I will tell you, I don't make $10,000 every month. My average payday last year was 7,000, which is still amazing. I remember back in the day when I was excited to make $1,000 a month. So it's gone up by then. I think my highest paycheck was 11,655. But I think the really coolest thing about Scentsy is there's so much potential. There's no cap on what you can make. So I just know that that's going to go up and up, and the potential is there. So my husband has not gone back to work yet. He's still staying home. He tells people he's semi-retired, but I think he's retired. Right now, he's volunteering at the library, and he's teaching a 40-year-old man how to read and write, which I think is super sweet, and it's what he wants to do. It's kind of his passion. So I am so blessed to be able to help him provide that, because he has provided for our family for so many years, working so hard for us. So I do want to tell you that Scentsy is not a get rich quick scheme. It took me 13 years to make a $10,000 paycheck. Um, but one thing that our co-owner told us once, and I just loved it. He just said, try Scentsy for 2 years, and put into it the effort that you would put into going to college. Okay. So, college kids who pull those all-nighters, they're studying, they're working really hard, they're having tests, they're doing all of that. Put that kind of um, put that kind of energy into your Scentsy business for 2 years. And he could almost guarantee that if you do that, you could be making what a college graduate would make after that 2 years, if you put your time and effort into it. So Scentsy can be that for you. And you can join for no money, $99 or no cost. I can show you how. It's just the best. And I don't know what your story might look like, but that's mine. I like to share it with you if you want to share with other people, especially people who maybe that stay-at-home mom kind of thing, or the person who needs a car. Share a little piece of my story with them, or better yet, share your story with them, because you have a story too, and it needs to be shared. I think sometimes we forget all of these little things we went through that made us successful. All these being consistent and all this going through the dips and the valleys and the highs and the lows. That's part of your story, and you need to share that with other people. And if you're just really super getting started, remember that you're writing your story. You're the one with the pen. So make your story a good one. Make each chapter count, and you never know what the end of that story is going to look like. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later.